everyone. Can you believe it? We're back. Welcome to Kick Ons, the perfect way to end any sort of footy discussion. Kane Corn's the best in the business. Imitation is the perfect compliment. We're dressed in black. We're here to impress. And Billy Ray Cyrus joins us as well. And Josh Jenkins, good to see you.
Is that a compliment or is that a...
Absolutely brilliant, my friend. You look stylish. Double
Agreed.
Denim. Good to see you, Kane.
Great to be here, Richo. We're here again. Another huge weekend of footy coming up after what we had last weekend. And Anzac Round is always massive. So we'll get to that game tomorrow, which is going to be exciting.
Josh, I know you're extremely proud of me from our footy trip fund.
Yes.
Is now away. So we move away from Chadstone and we're heading towards a better venue at the moment. Finally got one leg up. And we're going to slowly... We're feeling excited.
He kicked one, Nick Watson, and then missed one, and I thought, ooh, sheepers, creepers, because he was prone early in his career to missing a few, but got the job done for us. So not congrats to Nick, congrats to you.
That's right. We're just starting to build. Jordan Dawson was on notice and responded.
Put him on notice, and that's what happens. The players watch and they respond when they need to. But Adelaide, look, it was the worst game of football I've seen all year. It was a disgraceful game of football, but he doesn't care. The skipper of the Crows, he was terrific with his ability to win the footy through the midfield. They threw the old, we're going to tag him with Adam Kingsley prior to this game when he was never going to go to Jordan Dawson, Toby Bedford. He was always going to Rankin, and Dawson made the most of it. But they kept him to 4 goals, which was a pretty good effort.
I thought it was, in a weird way, a signature win for the Crows because we know they can win by scoring 130, but to hold a really good team to a low score, sneaky good win from the Crows.
And I know how competitive you are, Kane. So as soon as we started to say the feed and multis, you then started to just bristle and started to really zero in. And this was the result where suddenly now 677 punters.
For the second week in a row. Look, so I had one last week that was paid about that, but only 10 people got on.
That's right.
And you mocked me. You said, oh, well, only 10 people got... 677 were on board that one.
What about you, the people's champ?
Going to send us broke. That's right. Sports better going to go under.
Whereas you've got over 14,000 followers and only 50 said, I'm with JJ.
Well, I ventured into the National Basketball Association. I'm I'm a cross-coder. Under, took him under and he went under, so I'm pretty sharp on the old Herbs Richo.
Oh, no, there's no doubt in that. Please start following us on Kick Ons too on the feed as well. And that's all of our mugs as well, including, look like you got something in your cheeks there, big boy. Anzac Day, really looking forward to this. Let's start with Collingwood Essendon.
Well, they just surprised me, Collingwood. I didn't think they were going to be playing finals. I thought they were all in with this list. I thought they were going to be too old and too slow. I said as much after they lost in round one. Yep. They're making me look at just a tad foolish, Richard.
They're premiership favourites at the moment.
Well, pretty much. Well, and they should be, and rightly so, because of the way they're playing and the structure and how hard they are to play against, defensively in particular. So Essendon are going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, the defensive numbers are unbelievable. We'll have a look at those momentarily. They're back to their best, calling them the air assist kings because individually, these defenders, Darcy Moore's gettable in one-on-ones, and we've heard our man talk about that endlessly. Yeah. Braden Maynard's gettable in one-on-ones. Isaac Quaynor's not the one-on-one defender he was once upon a time. Jeremy Howe's vulnerable. But as a group, as a unit, they're a really good air assist team, so you rarely get a one-on-one. Billy Frampton's in that team to lock down a big forward, and then Moore and Maynard and these guys are going to come over the top. And their forward line, they put good pressure on as well. So they don't necessarily stack up in terms of tackles inside 50, but it's the pressure, it's the first line of defence from the Collingwood team that's really impressive.
Led very well by Nick Daicos, who must be very, very close to taking over as captain. He now looks like a captain. Not yet. But
shout out to Darcy.
This was an extremely good performance. I was there, saw it live at the Gabba. I'm not sure what Brisbane were doing, but they were trying to sort of expose him the other way. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. Put someone on him at least. Now, he's the closest thing in football to being untaggable. There isn't anyone that's untaggable. You can really restrict anyone if you've got a disciplined player on him, but he's as close as it gets. And I don't know what Essendon are going to do. Probably Durham, I would have thought, but then you lose his offensive flair a little bit, and he's important. But do not let him stand on his own like Chris Fagan did on Thursday night. There's his over. I'm going over that.
Yeah, for sure.
100% over.
He's 67-3 from his past 2 Anzac games. So he's had a 40 and a 2 recently in Anzac games. So I think... Look, you will lose something from Durham, and Jai Caldwell's not there, so your midfield's hurt offensively, but he will take the game away from Essendon if they allow him.
Well, we know Durham's not going to get 30 plus. We've been down that road. We've been down that road before.
So you build me up and then you cut me down.
It's a little drive-by. Who's going to be in the ruck for the Bombers?
Can I throw a really left field? Like Todd Goldstein's going to have to come out of semi-retirement.
Yeah.
He's the ruck coach at the moment, but he's going to have to come out and play. But he's not going to be able to play 15 games in a row. Can I throw a real left field option?
Well, hopefully you were watching the agenda setters last night. Go ahead.
Could Ben Mackay be the mobile ruckman?
Wow.
So he can move. He's got the size. He's got the physical capabilities. He's big enough to play in the ruck. Could he play as a mobile ruckman?
Is he competitive enough? You've got to have a level of competitiveness to go in there and put yourself at risk. You've done it. It's not an easy position to do.
No, it's not that enjoyable.
Especially for a non-ruckman. Do you think he's competitive enough to go in there and stick his knee up and compete?
I'm seeing midfielders go in there and compete in the ruck and not necessarily look out of play. So you just need to go and stand on the back of a good ruckman, go and stand behind Darcy Cameron, don't allow him to just work the clock and hit it wherever he wants, and then get involved around the ground. My actual biggest worry wouldn't be his competitiveness. He doesn't make great decisions when he gets the ball. So if you're going to have a mobile ruckman, it's because you want them to get the footy. He's not necessarily great in that space, but he might be an option. It might free the shackles. It might release the shackles from him down back.
He needs something, and that might be it. What about up in Canberra? Giants, Dogs.
Well, the rivalry. How good is the rivalry now? The Western Bulldogs were very, very strong against St Kilda. We lost Sam Darcy, of course, which was so devastating. Sad. Couldn't believe it. But Aaron Norton was better. I thought he moved better, and they just stacked. I just think they have good players across every line. There's the head-to-head. I think the Bulldogs have been disrespected somewhat in that, albeit the Giants on that ground, which is their second home ground, are pretty strong. But let's hope we get that fierce rivalry. We get Toby Green and Bont going at it like they have done for the past 5 or 6 years.
So, no Sam Darcy, we know that. I think for Aaron Norton, it's probably a good thing because when you're playing a forward line where there are 3 keys, which they have done a lot, even 2 keys, you can get into a subconscious thought process. I don't have to be at every contest. Oh, Sam will be at this contest, or Jamari Ugle-Hagan will be at this contest. When you're the only key forward, you know you have to be.
But all of a sudden he gets the best defender. So all of a sudden he gets Taylor. Taylor would have gone to Darcy. Then.
I'd accept the best defender if it meant I was going to be in 12 more contests. Because you might lose a couple, but you might win a couple. And as a forward, you only have to win a few to have an impact on the game. So I think it might be a positive for him. But Bontempelli, what is it? He's so good around the ball. You're already shaking your head.
No, I'm just I'm shaking my head at the return and how good it was. And
are they the numbers that need to? Because they're going to need help in the forward line.
Yeah. Does it pivot upwards?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a case by case game. And if you need him, if you need someone and some power closer to goal, and you're not getting that, then you can move him forward. But he actually started across half back. Then he went inside, then he went forward. His ball use after being out for 6 weeks was just exquisite. And then his ability to do that off a couple of steps. So I think you just manipulate him wherever the game situations determine that he plays. And Luke Beveridge has coached him for a long time, so he'll understand that. And the best part about Marcus Bontempelli, you just put his hand up and say, you know what, you need me here, I'll go and do it. There'll be no complaints and he'll find a way to impact. But yeah, there we go, he's over under. You'd be going over, wouldn't you? For 24 and a half.
Well, it's interesting. Would you be going over or would you be going more goals? Will he go more forward? But also, second up syndrome after a long break. I'm a massive advocate for it.
It's a thing. 208 for a 2+ goal, so maybe you might find some value there. But he had 30 in under 3 quarters because they managed his minutes. And he was still able to get 30 in under 3 quarters of game time. So he'll find the footy. I'd expect him to go over 24.
And then we go Sunday's going to be a beauty, isn't it? Suddenly Carlton, who I don't think can lose a game for the rest of the season, up against the Cats. At the MCG, it'll be packed, it'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be another massive crowd. I was lucky enough to be there Easter Monday, and that was the most highly pressurised game I can remember being at for some time. So what does that do to Geelong? Is there a come-down effect? Is there a letdown from them? Because it's hard to go back to back to back in terms of those 85, 90,000 crowds and be able to bring that energy.
And Carlton need a scout. So at some point they're going to have to start beating some good teams. Their draw is very, very soft. They got such a favourable draw in the first 15 weeks. North Melbourne and West Coast twice, I think, in the first 15 weeks. They
are playing a little better now.
They are playing a bit better, but they've beaten West Coast and North Melbourne. Correct. So let's just relax and let's see how they go against
If they want to scalp, they're going to have to slow down the Slash brothers. Max
Slush Brothers.
because they're slashing across the surface, Richo.
the Slash Brothers.
Because now I'm giggling, right? I hear a lot of people talk about, or some people say Bailey Smith, his efficiency's not great. As a forward, if I'm playing with Bailey Smith, I don't care
Get
how
in there quick.
it just comes in quick.
Correct. Yeah.
He grabs it and he doesn't stand and hack it. He doesn't try and handball it to someone else. He grabs it, and Max Holmes is the exact same. They grab it, they tuck it under their arm, and they run and they bounce, and the ball goes 80 metres. And that's all you're asking for. There was a passage of play from Max Holmes where he just tucked it under his arm and said, "Good luck to you. If you can catch me, good luck. You can't, and I'm just off to the races." So I'm absolutely loving what these two are doing. George Hewitt has to tag one of these.
Yeah, so which one would it be? Probably Holmes for me. I think he's probably the more damaging one. And Hewitt, you want to keep his ability to win the footy as well. So
he had 39.
Exactly. So he can restrict. Did the biggest number on LDU I've seen in a long, long time. So Bailey Smith, there's his over-under. You'd think that's been around his average. So probably if he gets off the chain, he goes over that. But Hewitt's been enormous.
And then you look down the other end for Geelong. You think about Jezza Cameron. Who does Carlton find a matchup who can maybe in the air handle him, but then probably can't handle him when he runs?
This has been the interesting thing. I remember having conversations with Jezza about he knows he loves playing against Carlton. He knows his record's good. He loves playing at the G. And the strange part with Jeremy Cameron, he gets a lot of his goals on the ground in general play, but against the Blues for some reason, he's been able to get really good aerial matchups. I don't think Wiedering's a great matchup for him. I think he'll sort of take him up the ground and work him back. McGovern, I don't probably trust him one-on-ones.
Not quick enough.
Yeah, so there's just not a great matchup for Cameron. But the only thing is, Dangerfield's playing closest to goal. So I think it's actually hurting Jeremy's goal-scoring ability a little bit. It's definitely hurting Ollie Henry. He can't get near the footy at the moment.
He can't touch it, and Neil's the other one. They'd love to get him going. They're just not as reliant. So I don't think he kicks 4. I think he gets his 2s to 3s. Not in sparkling form, Jezza, but just doing what he needs to be doing.
And what about up north in Queensland, talking about forwards? Both teams, Lions and also Suns, trying to kick goals.
Yeah, well, you give some boys a pump up and they go to sleep on you. But I mean, Gold Coast are an interesting situation. We'll get to Charlie Cameron in a moment. Gold Coast,
too tall.
Yeah, but I can understand why
You're heightest.
They're too tall.
You are heightest.
You can't have 3.
As someone who's tall, that's offensive.
You cannot have the 3 giants in the forward line. Now, this is the problem because Walter and Ethan Reid are going to be very good players. So you want to play them. You've got to find a way to play them. But they're in it for the now. There's no time to wait. Just because there's talent, you don't pick them. It's about the combination of the 3, which just isn't working.
Neither deserves to play on form.
No. So maybe it's Reid because he gives you the option to go in the ruck and he gives you a few more tricks than what Walter does. Maybe Walter just goes back and spends 4 or 5 weeks in the VFL, kicks a stack of goals, and there's going to be an injury at some point, and then he comes back in. But the 3 of them not working.
What about Charlie Cameron?
Yeah, well, we aren't seeing much of not a lot of Harley Davidson riding. He's my man. He's a good friend of mine, but he's just not getting it done at the moment. There's going to be selection pressure on him when Kai Lohmann comes back because these numbers just aren't stacking up. Career lows across the board. He's just not able to get involved in the game. He's actually a better endurance athlete than most people probably think. He's not a great endurance runner, but he could. I think they might need to use him up around high half forward to get him involved.
Out on the ground in the warm-up, and I just had a quick chat to him. I said, "How you going?" He said, "I really want to get up the ground and turn my opponent around the other way." That's when he's at his best. Now, between 2020 and 2024, only Jeremy Cameron had kicked more goals than Charlie. His record is dual All-Australian. Heaps of goals, but just struggling for form, as does happen with those small forwards. I'm backing him in. He'll be fine.
Just a note, self-insertion there. I'm good mates with Charlie Cameron, says Josh
not
Jenkins.
at all, but he was willing to...
No, that's Josh Jenkins.
He's
not you.
got me there, it's fair enough, though, because he has a crack at both of us.
That's my role. I thought, I'm sure it says written there. Hey, shot clock time. We're going to keep it really simple this week. Really, really simple.
Okay.
Each club, contender or pretender? Gold Coast.
Contender for me. And I think they're going to be right in the mix. Top 6, top 4, that's around their level. Disappointing on the weekend, but every team is going to have ups and downs, particularly on the road. Young group. Contender.
Agree with that. Contender for mine. They're 3-1 on the road. So, there was a disappointing loss against Richmond, but massive game this weekend against Sydney. The winner of that is back, or is in business, I reckon.
We'll forgive him. That was a recession they had to have. A little clip across the jaw. This should be an easy one, though. GWS Giants, surely.
Contender. Love what they're all about. Yes, they look a lot less dangerous and formidable without Jesse Hogan, but you can say that about most teams with their best player.
Contender for me, and they've been on the road for so long, only 2 or 3 games at home in the first 8 weeks, so that means in the back end they're going to play a lot of games at home. Contender.
Yeah, they are the starting point for mine. We'll even grab those 10 seconds because we're going to need them. Fremantle.
Pretender. Which is disappointing. They've got all the tools.
Did you have them in the 8 at the start of the year?
Yes, I did.
I didn't.
I didn't.
But why
backed him to
though?
win
But
the flag.
the only question is the
Because
coach
there's-
is the coach getting the best out of this group? And right now you'd have to say no.
Because the coach wants to play one way and the players seemingly want to play another. And sometimes they play the way the players want to play and sometimes they play the way the coach wants to play. And that's why we see mixes in their form. So, pretender.
Sydney.
Pretender. I've been slow and cool on the Swans.
You're ahead of the game with this.
I tell you what I didn't like. I could not understand Dean Cox's behaviour.
He didn't
on the
like
bench.
this in the pre-season, and his messaging in the pre-season as
And
well.
his messaging, he wanted to. He felt like he wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You've got to keep the baby. The baby's an important part, Richard. You can get rid of the water, but you need to keep your own baby.
Note to self.
They've lost their offensive identity totally. And him carrying on the bench was not a good look.
No, if you're going to be on the bench, you want to be positive, engaging with your players and message. Otherwise, get up to the box and do what John Longmire did. He'd lose his mind, but the players wouldn't see it. The cameras would see it, the players wouldn't. But you can't have him acting like that on the bench. I was thinking they were a contender at the start of the year. I'm now changing to
Can I
pretender.
just steal 3 more seconds? On the feed, I've got a Sydney into Carlton to both miss the 8. It's looking good.
It's looking damn good.
It's looking good.
Hawthorn.
Contender. Yeah, they'll be there on prelim final weekend. Where it goes to from there, I don't know. But a kick here or there on the weekend, a turnover here and there, and they win that game of footy. They'll get some players back as well. Will Day's a big out, but if Mitch Lewis and Cashier come back to help with their key position forwards, they're fine.
They're a contender, but I got scared on Monday when I watched them live at the G in front of a massive crowd, which is what they're going to face in finals, trying to play a game style that relies on zing, zing, zing. The easiest thing to bring to the table is pressure, right? That's the easy, because there's a lot of pressure in the building anyway. I felt that way about Sydney last year, watching them get beaten at the G. Under intense pressure, trying to play a game style that relies on sizzle is difficult.
Zing, zing, zing.
Hard to zing under pressure.
Talking of zing, your number one zinger up next, North Melbourne. Welcome back to Kick Ons. Hope you're enjoying the show. Kane Corns, Josh Jenkins. Kane, one of your topics at the moment is the North Melbourne Footy Club.
Really just shocked by how bad they are. Like, they're pathetic, really, which is really surprising to me. I didn't expect them to play finals, but I expected them to win their 7 or 8 games this year, and with the talent that they've got and the investment in the list and the addition of some senior players and Alistair Clarkson having another pre-season there without the disruptions. But to see them get worse has been one of the biggest shocking storylines for the year.
It's a bit sad, to be honest. It's time to get better. It's time to improve. Seemingly, Alistair Clarkson was the final, piece to the puzzle. They'd rolled through a few coaches, made a few mistakes in that space, but it's quite sad. And there's a chance. Look, they've got an opportunity. Port Adelaide is an opportunity to go and play well, but equally, it's a risky game. And some of their better players just aren't necessarily standing up.
Isn't it?
Yeah, well, when you sign for 1.3 for 7 years, you expected to be a top 10 player in the game, because that's what your salary dictates. Huge investment in him. So his ball use has really dropped off. He wins the footy okay, but his impact as well really down. So there's the line in this game.
37.5 is a big line.
They're pretty good,
Big
though.
head start.
They're pretty good. They're pretty on the money with these ones. Port Adelaide at home have turned the corner, but you would hope once again that North Melbourne get inside that. But who would know what team turns up?
You know what I call them, Richo, down back? The cough-up Kangas. Because all they did last week was just cough up the ball in the defensive 50 of the ground. You're going to concede goals. That's like, there's an opposition. We get it. You're going to be up against teams that, like, look at that.
Yeah.
That just That can happen once a year, but it happened 5 times in the same game. They gave up so many goals from their own mistakes inside defensive 50, and you can't defend any of these. You can't stop any of these because you're creating them for yourself. So at the moment, we're calling them the cough-up Kangas.
Fair enough. So deflating.
But it's early in the season, and every elite athlete or every elite sport has some tough periods and has some form fluctuations. Can we cut them another 5 weeks?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to. It's a long time. Like, Luke Hodge, who I work with, is saying give him 18 months. We don't have 18 months. Like,
no, we don't have 18 months.
So we need to start seeing the improvement now, and the improvement comes defensively and not having those just simple errors against a side that was just going, Carlton.
Yeah.
To concede 150.
Sheezel on notice. Why?
Yeah, I do, because he's not hurting you. He's the greatest stat patter in football right now.
Stat patter.
He's getting way too many handballs and kicks. He's worried about the stat sheet, and he's not impacting.
How do you know that he's actually worried about
from
the
the
stat sheet?
midfielders in the top 10 disposals, who is actually impacting the scoreboard with their score involvements? How many of your touches lead to scores?
No. Well, that's hang on.
5.5.
Hang on. That's unfair. He's the only one in that group that has played at half-back.
And
so his numbers.
He plays everywhere. He
His
plays
score
half-back. They had to
involvements-
move him to half-back because he wasn't impacting in the front half of the ground. So how can we get him going? We'll put him back to half-back. He's a very lateral player, short kick, inside, handball backwards, low metres gain.
He's the least of their problems.
Don't go from 35 a game and 5 score involvements. Go to 22 a game and have 9 score involvements and impact. I don't need to see this handball backwards, uncontested, cheap rubbish, and stat padding Harry's got to go. Now, there's his disposal line. He'll probably go over that, and that's good for the punters, but I don't care. I want him to impact the score and use his ball-winning and kicking ability to actually hurt the opposition. He's not hurting anyone at the moment.
Wow, that hurts.
I
He's a
think
kid.
They've got a lot of problems. I'm not sure he's in the top 40.
Okay, now we've got a segment which I absolutely love. It's called Kane.
No, well, it's a quick one this week. No Kane, because our man had a $33 winner, so he gets the week off.
Had a good week.
Well, hang on, I'm looking around. Who else is left?
It's to you.
Oh, here we go.
Mate, you've got a lot of influence in the athletics world.
Oh,
I don't care what you have to do.
My word, he does.
Get out into the stall.
Get him in the final.
1.5 million people turned it off because he didn't make it.
How can that be possible?
Well,
Your sport.
Do something.
There's a lot of things I'd like to mention about that, but unfortunately we've got to go to a break. Headlines.
Reality check for Ross. He's finally understanding this list is no good, despite their start to the year, which was strong. They're in no man's land, the Saints.
Hand up. Sorry, Nick, I was wrong. Give him the medal right now. Nick Daicos. In fact, I am going to be just a multi-king for the rest of the year. Every single bet,
Put him in.
multi into him to win the Brownlow.
Well.
That's how bloody good he is.
Yeah.
Nick Daicos. Give the medal to him right now. And for the footy trip, of course, if you build it, they will come. It's with me, and I'm going Nick Daicos. I'm taking all the money.
123.
I'm putting it all into 123. I'm slowly going to build, and I'm with Nick for the rest of my life. And then we've got our multi. What are we going to do?
Putrid. I'm going Hawthorn 60 plus, big rebound against the Eagles.
Brisbane 1-39.
Jai Newcomb, just a little sweet, $1.40. Build them all up.
A great show,
$5.37.
and then you end us with $1.23.
123 rubbish.
Sorry for picking a winner, unlike these imbeciles right here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Follow us on the feed. You've been watching Kick Ons.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.